Welcome to the infamous Todd Show, the 50th taping, which is also known as, let me get this right, Season 3, Episode 2, which is the 50th show. Now, if you've been watching my shows or keeping up with me on the podcast, I've been talking about getting a ukulele because the doctor said the best way to deal with my onset dementia is to keep trying to learn new skills instead of relying so much on skills that I learned in the past, which I thought was strange because I always thought that, you'd want to keep refreshing the memories of your past so you wouldn't forget them. But I guess learning new stuff and challenging your brain is where it's at. So today, this ukulele showed up. Now, if you watch this on YouTube or whatever, you can go down to the info area and it'll show you where I got the ukulele. And I know absolutely nothing about playing a guitar or a ukulele or any other stringed instrument. I was a crappy trombone player, and I hadn't played piano since I was a little kid. So this is going to be quite the challenge. But you know what? At one time, for years, I kept talking about doing a podcast or filming stuff. And I always pushed it off because I had to rely on other people to do it. And then they would always kind of flake out on the project. So this is my chance to challenge myself to learn a new skill. And hopefully I can do it well enough not to embarrass myself every single time. But in the meantime, you might want to be, poor Michael. Poor Michael. That's all I can say is poor Michael. Okay, so today, for the 50th, which is the golden anniversary, so I needed to talk something special today. So today I want to do a show called Why Me, Harvey Milk? For some of you, Harvey Milk is an unknown person with an undetermined history, assassinated in a complicated world, and I'll let the internet fill in the details of his life because I don't have time to go on the show to explain everything. Of all the words I have spoken in my life, none were more important to changing my mental strength than the words I'm going to speak today. For these thoughts I shared almost a decade ago changed the course of my entire life. And the person that you see now, I want to believe they came because I got inspired by the words that I want to share with you today. And hopefully they'll hit somewhere home for many of you. On May 22nd, 2010, I received an invitation to be the guest speaker and the master of ceremonies of the very first Harvey Milk Festival in the United States. As I calmed down and excitedly accepted the offer, only one question came to my mind. Why me? I sat there at my desk and I called my daughter, and my daughter paused and then said only two words. Why you? Nervously, hoping to find some positive validation, I called my mother. In the most distracted voice, she asked, why you? You see, my glory days of being a mover and a shaker were a far distant memory. I was one of the lucky ones growing up as a young man. Rarely did I find my progression being stopped because I was a gay man. Yes, I know I was one of the lucky ones. I still am one of the lucky ones, but my accomplishments are much like me. They too are turning gray and now part of the history of Florida's rebellious stages of the 80s and 90s. I can no longer pick up the local newspaper to revel in the latest activities from the twisted imagination of the infamous Todd. I moved back to Florida from Phoenix in 2009. And once again, when I moved back, I was just Todd Kaczynski-Kottmeyer. I had received news that my heart wasn't going to be able to make it till Christmas, and hospice suggested that I move back home so my family wouldn't have to worry about how they were going to get my body back. So I moved back. And when I moved back, someone asked if the infamous Todd was back. I had to humbly reply to them, only in storybook form, my friend. Only in storybook form. So once again, I could not shake the feeling of wondering, why me? Not a week in 2010 went by without people discovering me online to remark in the sincerest voice, "Oh my God, Todd, I heard you had died a long time ago." So there I sat inside my empty room, staring at the glow of the computer monitor perched upon my desk, and said once again, why me? I'm a broken man, far past my prime, with a tattered and torn heart from cardiomyopathy, looking pretty worn out from a successful battle with AIDS almost my entire adult life, struggling to get past my own insecurities, and now holding an invitation to partake in this historical event. Again, I asked, why me? The following Sunday, I went to church, to a small metropolitan community church in Tampa, Florida. I first joined their church in 1999 when I was a much more complicated and successful man. I sat near the front row, right in front of the minister. I bowed my head as the choir began to sing, and the congregation rose for the processional hymn, and I decided at that moment to sneak in a pre-prayer to my God. I was hoping to catch God's attention before the rest of the people around me had a chance to ask for their own agenda. I needed for a moment some one-on-one time, a special request. After all, God, I was sitting close to the front of the church, hoping that had some bearing on the rules of special requests. I don't know what I thought would happen, but I knew I needed confidence from a force far stronger than myself. I stood there in my own self-reflection, almost shaking from the fear of my man-made insecurities. My eyes tightly closed, my arms holding my chest, hugging, and I could hear my inner thoughts from deep inside me as I asked my God one simple question: why me? Warm tears welled up in my eyes, catching me off guard, embracing me. My face turned flush against the cold air beating down from the rafters. My thoughts overwhelmed my own physical disabilities. My scarred face, from a lower lip torn from fighting MRSA. In 2010, I walked around with broken teeth from a medical accident, unable to get it fixed because of my crippled heart. Dental damage now hidden beneath acrylic resin, upper dentures and a lower partial. Lines and creases carved in my face from smiling too much for far too long. The gray in my hair that wins, that battles over the hair color I used each month. The baldness, the crown of my head where feathered hair once flourished. The bags and dark circles under my eyes that revealed health issues, best kept behind closed doors. And finally, the insecurities that redefined the glimmer that once sparkled in my eyes. I could not get past my own image of how I had become such an unattractive man over the past few years. I stood there feeling foolish and alone in a sanctuary filled with compassionate people. I stood there in a church that I snuck out of after communion so people wouldn't talk to me. I left before people in my church could realize how flawed I had become over the years. You know what? It's hard to fight for equality when you look in the mirror and see less of a person looking back at you. Why me, dear God? Why me? Now, I know this is a part of a good story where I should explain that a bright light came down to fall upon my face. I know this is the part of the tale where I should inspire you by stating that the hand of God gently rested upon my shoulder and gave me peace or inspiration. Perhaps this is the part of the story or part of my speech where I should be dazzling you by repeating that God spoke to me in Morgan Freeman's voice. No such luck. My epiphany was not religious that day in church. It was actually based on a hilarious thought right there 2 seconds into the sermon. I started to smile. Not just your regular smile, but one of those smiles that people make with damaged teeth, trying to avoid people. I couldn't reach enough. I couldn't reach fast enough for the church bulletin that they had handed me. Moments earlier. I pulled a black pen from my pocket of my dress shirt, and I started to scribble a note to myself on the information sheet tucked inside the bulletin. For you see, there was a voice. There was a vision of a man. My fears instantly at that moment vanished. Inside my head, I could picture that simple man. Most likely not known for being overly attractive himself. It came from my thoughts of old black and white photos of Harvey Milk. I have to admit to you, I must look you square in the eye, or if you're listening to this podcast, I have to tell you, some of those images at that moment were publicity photos of Academy Award winner Sean Penn from the movie Milk. But suddenly, with great humor and pleasure, I was picturing Harvey Milk listening to me whine. His simple face, looking at me in disbelief, his meek body, with his basic smile. He sat there in my imagination making fun of me because I thought my looks determined my value on fighting equality. For a moment, I had a hard, deep look into Harvey Milk's face in my imagination. I began to laugh at my own silliness. It is that silliness that I discovered my own true value. Fighting for equality needs to be larger than my own insecurities. It has to be larger than the Harvey Milk Festival, because for that festival to succeed in 2010, it must last longer than the moments that the participants left the event. It is much larger than Harvey Milk, or San Francisco, or California, or even America. I want to let you know, though, a secret. It is not larger than me. It is not larger than you. It is not larger than you and you and you and anybody that's listening to my message. It is not larger than you. Fighting for equality cannot be done alone. It has no expiration date. It is not a Facebook page, an Instagram, Snapchat, or Twitter post. It is not a song or a story or a clever speech. Fighting for equality is me fighting for equality. Fighting for equality is you fighting for equality. Harvey Milk reminded us that we can all make a difference if we can just look beyond our own fears and vacillation to work together. In that brief moment in church, Harvey Milk reminded me, with his own image, that you don't have to be the prettiest person in the room to fight for equality. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room to fight for equality. You don't need to be the most popular individual in any room to fight for equality. And believe me, you don't need to be the best speaker to fight for equality. The only demand we need to place upon ourselves is the desire to stand up and be counted as one of the loud voices demanding that equality includes all of us. Harvey Milk taught us that fighting for equality forces us to look far beyond ourselves and our own roles in society. For a moment, we cannot be white, we cannot be black, Asian, Hispanic, even men or women. We cannot be Democrats, Republicans, Christians, Jews, pagans, straight, gay. When you look beyond your own label, look beyond the conformity of society, look beyond yourself, then you will realize that none of us is completely equal until the person next to you is unconditionally equal. For the definition of equality, by its true nature, requires nothing less. Nobody is equal until everybody is equal. I can promise you that nowhere during my research for the Harvey Milk Festival did I find a single sentence where Harvey Milk implied that he was leading us to the promised land. Harvey Milk was simply the caretaker of the key to the door that helped open for the rest of us to walk through. Harvey Milk's sudden death did not end our march, for his steps, my friends, were just the beginning. He did not live his life for us to stop fighting for equality just because he was not present. For you to make a change in the world, you must believe that Harvey Milk's intentions, his path, and his spirit were nothing less than your own. It is our challenge to continue that momentum, never to look at ourselves as a victim, and never to consider your role in life as too insignificant to matter. Nothing will be accomplished if each of us continues to question, why me? When you wake up in the morning, if you catch yourself looking into the mirror and wondering, why me? Then I challenge you to reply, why not? When you are living each day wondering, why me? Then I challenge you to reply, why not? If you go to bed at night and you find yourself wondering, why me? Then I challenge you to reply, why not? Once you can learn to believe that you can make a difference, then you'll begin to hear yourself volunteer to join others in the fight for equality. Pick me. Pick me to fight your battles. Pick me to be your strength. Pick me to stand by you. Pick me. Pick me. Pick me. Look at the people around you in your life that make time in their lives to make positive differences in the lives of other people. The neighbor mowing the lawn for a senior citizen. The person that walks over to a home of a handicapped person in their neighborhood to help with chores. The people in the kitchens and drivers delivering food for the homebound. The people standing in protest lines to walk their talk for issues important to them. Look at all the talent, feel the energy of the crowds and the sincerity of each person. Adore the compassion of people around you, even if you disagree with them. Determine the causes you respect in life and start to learn to walk the talk. Look around you. You are a gang, a movement, a crowd, a loud voice defining this moment in your life. You have become, without realizing it, part of the enthusiasm and momentum needed for change. Look around you. For a moment, look around you. If for a moment you can think, wow, there's a lot of good people in my life, then remember, these are the same people thinking that about you. At this moment, people in your life are looking at you too. They are standing next to you. They are standing behind you. They are your coworkers, your family, your neighbors. They are your friends that share your laughter and your tears. They are the teachers throughout your life. They are the people that drive next to you. They are the nurses that mend you when you are sick. They include the people on social media that you have not placed physically in your life. All these people at this moment are looking back at you. Look around you each time you leave your home. Look around you each time you communicate with people online. Make a change to reset your life today to make a difference in the lives of others. It is what you desire to do today that will define tomorrow, that will determine all of our destinies. Today, I ask you to open your heart. Today, I ask you to open your mind. So the next time you're alone, sitting in a room by yourself, and someone asks you for help, you don't have to say, why me? My name is Todd Kaczynski-Kottmeyer. Pick me. I hope that you'll join me next week. I thank you very much. Welcome to the Infamous Todd Show. Bye.